And good morning, everyone, and welcome to This Day on this humid day out. We've got, well, a little bit of mugginess, a little bit of drizzle. I'll tell you about that in just a moment. On our show today, we have Orange County Supervisor Lisa Bartlett, and she is coming on with Michelle Anderson. Michelle is the Deputy Director of Emergency Management, and we're going to primarily talk about being prepared, what they go through in the event of an earthquake. In fact, some of the slides that we're going to show is that event that happened, you know, up in Ridgecrest and how it trickled down here, of course. So we're going to talk all about that. Going to bring you a segment from the Santa Ana Zoo and also the great friendly visitor program that our social services department does. One meeting today, and that is GRF. They're having their community activities committee, and this will be a special meeting. Usually this time of year when they're having their special meetings, it means they're about the budget. So if you'd like to go, it's in the boardroom, and that will be at 1:30 today. Now let's get to the weather, and well, we had a little drizzle out there this morning in certain areas. In fact, it's in the forecast. Slight chance of drizzle around the area. In fact, this morning when I looked, was watching Channel 7, they had their Doppler up. There was drizzle really all over Southern California. Not a lot at all, but it was there. And there is still a possibility for more today. Also, while there's a very good possibility of thunderstorms in the Inland Empire and the mountains, meaning Big Bear and Wrightwood and those areas, there is a tiny chance that there could be a thunderstorm just about anywhere in Southern California today. That's really low, but it is, along with more drizzle later on. We'll see about that, but if you like Florida, welcome to that weather. 88 today, 89 tomorrow. We were at 6 o'clock this morning at our house. We were 70 degrees. That was so pretty much probably our low overnight. So going forward, you can just see we're going to stay up in the upper 80s all the way through. As we get to Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we'll start to see the humidity taper off. Could be on Thursday. We're not going to see it at all. We'll see about that. But overall, you can see the temperatures will be in the upper 80s pretty much. So we're still in a stretch of warm weather. This is normal, and so is this humidity for this time of the year. Not unusual. Let's look around Southern California. And again, chances of light rain and thunderstorms throughout Southern California today. Don't expect too much, but it is there in the forecast. And you can just see everywhere we're up in temperatures, upper 80s to low 90s. Palm Springs 107, the Foothills 91, Lake Arrowhead about 84, and Big Bear is going to be right about that same temperature as well. So I don't mind it because we don't go through it for months like they do in Florida and Hawaii. So I don't mind this for about a week or so. Not bad. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Before I tell you what I'm about to tell you, let me tell you that it's very important that you listen to what I'm going to tell you. Looking good, Albert. The people have spoken. They want a man of action. Real gold? They want a leader who will stare boredom in the face and say, not on my watch. Insert me, Rob Riggle, the new mayor of Funner, California. It's not a word, it's a place. Funner!
I'm a strong believer that there's something for everyone out there. But some people never stop searching. I've looked long and hard through these parts, and I thank my lucky stars I stumbled across a special place, a unique place, where you never know what you'll find. The Trading Post, only on Channel 6.
Are you looking for a better way to manage your medication? MedBox by AmeriPharma has redefined the pharmacy experience. No more pill organizers and vials. When we fill your prescriptions, you get all your medications conveniently packaged by the dose and delivered to your door at no additional cost. This means no change in insurance, copays, or out-of-pocket expenses. Call our specialists today and discover the new way of pharmacy. MedBox by AmeriPharma.
Get out and live your life with the Buzz Around XL travel scooter from Golden. The Buzz Around is fun to drive with a tight indoor turning radius so you can go just about anywhere. It's also so easy to charge and offers all-day range so you can go further. The Buzz Around even has more leg and foot room for all-day driving comfort. Be safe with the XL's ultra-bright LED headlight. Plus, the Buzz Around XL can be easily taken apart into several lightweight pieces. See for yourself just how easy and affordable mobility freedom can be.
Mind and Memory Program at Mission Hospital is an outpatient program specifically designed for patients with a memory disorder who have developed a mental health issue, such as depression, anxiety, or paranoia. Patients are welcome every day, Monday through Friday, up to 4 days a week. On-site meals and snacks are included, and transportation to and from the program is available. The program focuses on improvement in overall mood, function, and concentration, as well as a decrease in depression or anxiety. Call today to find out if you or your loved one qualifies for the Mind and Memory Program.
Well, I'd like to welcome back Supervisor Lisa Bartlett. She oversees the 5th District. It's always good to have her on. And today she's brought along a guest, Michelle Anderson. Michelle is the Deputy Director of Emergency Management here in the county. Great to have you both on, as always. Good to see you again, and nice to meet you as well. So we're going to kind of get into our main topic, and that is, of course, we live in an area, obviously, earthquakes, but wildfires as well. Occasional floods in certain areas, as we saw this winter up in the canyon areas. But the whole bottom line to all this is really staying prepared and what the county does during these times.
Yes, you know, it's really important for everyone in the county to be prepared. We live in a zone with earthquake faults. We're prone to wildfires, and there could be heavy rains where we have floods. So it's incumbent upon everybody to be prepared in the event of an emergency. When you get that phone call, you've got 20 minutes to evacuate. To make sure that you have your checklist, you can pack your medication and your pet's food, and you've got things that you need to take out within that 20-minute time frame when you've got to evacuate.
Right, and I think, you know, obviously, in many times when it comes to earthquakes, although we have the app, we may only know a minute in advance. So that's a little bit harder, but the point is being prepared. Wildfires, most of the time, as devastating as they are, we usually get enough warning and we can grab things, we have a little bit more time. But the key is, you never know.
And it's preparing for those uncertain times. We're getting into wildfire season now. It's 86 degrees yesterday. July 4th, I was in the Lake Forest July 4th parade, and we had an earthquake. And didn't feel that when the car was moving, but the next day, another 7.1 earthquake, and certainly felt that one. And it just really drives home the point that we've got to be prepared. Right,
I was the same way. We were walking down to Trabuco Canyon. You know, they have their little country parade right by the steakhouse there. So we didn't feel that one. And we'd get back to our house and it's all over the news. But the next day, we certainly did. So we're kind of both in the same. We're at parades. Michelle, welcome again. It's great to have you here today. So tell us about your role with the county.
Absolutely. So the Emergency Management Division, while it sits in the Sheriff's Department, it's actually charged with all of the emergency preparedness and management across Orange County. We work very closely with all of the cities, water districts, school districts to try and coordinate the different response and information flow. So as an example, during the July 4th earthquake, I was actually at home watching the parade on TV, and while I didn't feel anything, I saw it happen on TV, and we immediately switched into a response mode. So we start calling all of the different fire agencies, law enforcement agencies, gathering information about what the potential impacts are in Orange County. Similar to the July 4th earthquake, when the July 5th earthquake hit, again, wasn't actually sure what had happened, but have to start reaching out to the other agencies. And in that case, we did have some minor damage in Huntington Beach, water main break, some power lines down. But one of our roles is to send out information, letting other affected agencies know that everything is okay, even in that case.
Let me ask you along those lines, at what point, let's just stick with earthquakes for the moment, at what point, or I should say at what magnitude, do you folks go into action? Is it, because if, you know, this is California, we have a 2.8, we have a 3.1, it's like, okay. But do you have a certain threshold where you folks go into action?
So for most first responders, so law enforcement and fire, if they're out in the field, if there's an earthquake at all, they'll actually start doing what are called windshield surveys, where as they're driving along, they are checking to see if there are any damages. For the Emergency Operations Center up at Loma Ridge, we would activate for anything potentially a 5.0 or greater in Orange County. The caveat there being, if there is a major impact to Orange County where we have to start coordinating resources, we can activate just on demand as well.
Okay, where's Loma Ridge located?
So Loma Ridge is out near Irvine Lake, so at the crossroads of Santiago Canyon Road and Jamboree. So we have a fantastic view of all of Orange County.
All right, and a great park up there.
Absolutely.
So we're going to go through some of the slides here, and this is the initial response and what happens here. So if you can sort of take us through this.
Correct. So we have coordination points in place with each of the city's water district, school districts, where we start to gather situational information. So information about buildings, hospitals, any type of transportation or utilities, and we try and gather that together so that we can give our policymakers and our first responders a better understanding of what's happening in the field, and we can start prioritizing resources for response. So if you were to imagine a large catastrophic earthquake happening in Orange County, we only have so many law enforcement, fire services personnel. So it would be critical to address issues on a priority basis. And that's where, as we do outreach to community members, we really try and stress preparedness. Because the ability of first responders to get to everyone may be limited. And so it's critical that people are able to take care of themselves, their loved ones, their neighbors, for a period following a catastrophic incident.
Right, and of course, for this community, it's even more important because a lot of folks, of course, are maybe not as mobile as they used to be. They're on certain kinds of medications or whatever. So it's the difficulty goes up, and being prepared is even more critical.
Absolutely. So we have a couple of programs in place at the beginning of preparedness to try and help people in preparing.
And this is great.
So,
we're showing these websites here.
Yes. So one of them is the Ready OC program, and you can go online and get information there on the 3 essentials. So make a kit, make a plan, get informed. And those are some of those critical elements that we talk about, whether it's having water on hand, having a supply of food on hand, having a first aid kit on hand. Similarly, the make a plan. When a disaster strikes, what are you going to do? Do you have people who you can reach out to out of state to let them know that you're okay? People who can reach out to you and make sure that you're okay.
Right.
And similarly, if you needed to evacuate, do you know where you would go? Do you know what you would take with you? I use myself as an example. During the Holy Fire, I live in Rancho Santa Margarita as well, and I was right on the boundary. And I had thought before I report to work, I should go through my house and actually decide what would I take with me?
Yeah, yeah.
And my grandma had given me a signed Louis L'Amour book, and I could not find that. And the realization that in a real disaster where I had to evacuate and time was limited, that would have been something that would have been heartbreaking to me to lose. So reminding people, plan in advance what matters, what's important, and make sure you have a plan if you have to evacuate of where those items are.
Now the next slide we're going to see is Alert OC. So tell the folks the difference between Ready OC and Alert OC.
Absolutely. So Alert OC is the component of Stay Informed. The Alert OC program is our emergency mass notification system, and it's how we'll communicate out to you that there is some type of protective action to take. So whether you need to shelter in place, which is stay inside, or if you need to evacuate the area, or just generally speaking that there is a fire in a particular area and that first responders are aware of it. We really need people to log into Alert OC, create an account, put in all of your contact information. So whether it's a cell phone, a landline, but also all the addresses that you care about. So think about where you live, where your loved ones live, where maybe your children go to school, if you have people that you care for, where those people live, because all of our messages are targeted based on address. So we need to know all those addresses that you care about.
Okay, very important. And then on the next slide, just recommendations for seniors. We kind of talked about this, but you know, when it comes to them, and it's not as though I'm saying everyone that lives here are immobile or need medications, because that's not the case at all. But you know yourself, if you are someone who requires just in your daily life additional help or whatever it might be, those are probably the primary things you need to think about.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we really stress in emergency preparedness is community, is make sure that you have some type of a support network. So individuals who would call to make sure you were okay, or individuals that you could go and check on to make sure they were okay. Besides in earthquakes is extreme heat events, right, is making sure that we're checking on our neighbors and that they're okay. Additionally to that, talking about, and it's not on the slide, but making sure if you are dependent on any type of a secondary power source for medical devices.
Very good point.
The power companies have a new program that's rolling out this year. It's called the Public Safety Power Shutoff Program, where they may be shutting off power during Santa Ana wind events. And so we're really trying to remind people, check your backup batteries to make sure that they function.
Yeah, very good point. And of course, additional considerations are things like pets, and particularly service animals.
Absolutely. And especially nowadays, there's lots of pets who have medications as well. So making sure that you have medications for your pets.
And finally, we're going to talk about you know, what actions you can take. And I like what, you know, you put something here on this slide, start with just 2. And I think that's good, because sometimes people get overwhelmed. What do I need to do? Do I even have space to have this little area of things I need to take? So just starting is a great way to go.
Absolutely. And the American Red Cross has a little shopping list where it's a 1 item a week, because people think, oh, this can be really expensive to make a kit like this. But it really is. If you just do 1 or 2 things a week, a month, it will help advance your preparedness.
I want to point out something there that I think that we've had the Orange County Fire Authority on many times. Great folks over the years. And I think there's one thing on the list there that people seem to forget about, and that's fire extinguishers. Now, whether or not we're talking about earthquakes or wildfires, you know, that's a different thing. But just to have that, the proper fire extinguisher in your house. I have one under our sink, and I think I have one out in the backyard in my shed for, you know, my barbecues and things like that. But how important it is, and they're very inexpensive. And you can find out, you can go online to Orange County Fire Authority, find out what kind you need, what's proper for your house. But that stood out to me, because that is such an important thing.
Absolutely. The fire extinguishers and fire alarms.
Yeah.
And making sure that they're not disabled.
Right.
Hear many stories of people disabling their smoke detectors because it goes off when they're cooking.
Yeah, and then everyone says, "Hey, dinner's ready."
Yeah. And the Orange County Fire Authority will come out and install a fire alarm, smoke alarm,
Yes, they will.
in your home.
Yeah.
So that's something to keep in mind for our seniors who don't want to endeavor to go out and do that themselves.
Right, and that's a great service. And of course, nowadays, most of them have a 10-year battery life in them, which is great. Which really means, in my mind, after 9 years, replace, meaning you're replacing the whole unit. Every year, you have a wonderful summit for emergency preparedness, and this year it's coming up October 19th. Of course, we'll tell you more about this as we get closer to it, over at the Norman P. Murray. And this is an important thing, and it's a great thing that you do, and all the other folks that are involved here as well.
It's our annual event, so this will be our 12th annual emergency preparedness event, and we're working to get folks here transported over to the event in Mission Viejo. But this is a great opportunity for all of our seniors here in Laguna Woods to take advantage of a regional event and get literature about what you can do to be prepared for emergencies. Actually get a lot of things you can take away with you.
Right.
You can take the white buckets, for instance, with the checklist of what to pack.
Yeah.
And those waterproof buckets. I gave those away 2 years ago at our senior summit. But a lot of good information, and they will help you get signed up for the Alert OC and information for that you can keep by your phone for if you have an earthquake or if you've got phone calls that you need to make. That checklist of things to go through, they will help get you prepared in the event of an emergency or if you've got to evacuate.
Right, and the bucket's a great idea because those 5-gallon buckets you can put a lot into, and your first aid kit, a little money, you could put your medications in, trade them out every month so they stay fresh or whatever it might be, batteries, things like that. And they're waterproof, so you can just grab and go, and that's a very good thing.
Yeah, it gives you peace of mind when you know you're prepared, no matter what comes up as an emergency.
All right, very good. One other thing I want to emphasize once again, Alert OC, people signing up for that?
Absolutely. So you can either text in by texting Alert OC to 888-777, or you can log on to alertoc.com and please again put in all of the addresses that you care about. Okay,
in this community we also have something called Code Red, which is similar for this community. Correct. But Alert, do both, definitely, because our Alert OC is maybe going to let you know of something that's out in another area, but still you want to be informed about that.
Absolutely.
All right, great to meet you. Thank you very much. Always good to see you, Supervisor. Thank you. And I know we'll see you again before October 19th, but we'll remind people about that as well.
Yes.
All right, very good. And if you want more information, you can go online for all these different things and get all kinds of things like that. And in one place you can go that you won't forget, you can go to the ocfa.org, Orange County Fire Authority, and go online to the Sheriff's Department. Of course, if you go to the Orange County Emergency Preparedness, and all you got to do is look that up and it'll come up to you instead of trying to type in this long website. That's the easiest way to do it. You'll find it there. All right, thank you again, and we'll be right back.
Before the next earthquake, take 30 seconds to refresh your memory about these important disaster preparedness tips. Make a family emergency plan. Decide how you'll get in touch with each other, where you'll go, and what you'll do in an emergency. Build a disaster supply kit with enough water, food, and emergency supplies to last at least 3 days. It's important to have disaster supply kits for work, cars, and pets too. Find and fix items in your home that might hurt someone by moving, breaking, or falling during an earthquake. Know how to react safely when the ground shakes. If you're inside, stay there. Remember to drop, cover, and hold on. Drop down onto your hands and knees and cover your head and neck with your arms to protect yourself from falling objects. If you can move safely, crawl under a sturdy desk or table and hold on to one of the legs until the shaking stops. After an earthquake, help people who are hurt or trapped. Call 911 for emergencies only. Check your home for damage, including gas or water leaks, damaged wiring, or downed power lines. Protect your family and your home by making a plan, building a kit, and practicing disaster drills at least twice a year. Be sure to visit readyoc.org for more information on emergency preparedness and alertoc.com to sign up for emergency alerts and notifications. We want you to be prepared for a disaster just as much as you do.
Ready or not, baby, here I come. Mom and I take on some of the nastiest places in our neighborhood.
If the home has good bones, we'll turn them into amazing spaces.
Ready or not. And we're just getting started.
Get out of my way, boys.
Oh my God.
Wow!
It's gorgeous.
Go ahead, toot your own horn. Toot, toot.
All new Good Bones, Tuesday at 9 on HGTV.
Did you know about 25 minutes away is a hidden treasure? It's the Santa Ana Zoo at Prentice Park. We took a tour with the zoo's director, Ethan Fisher, to hear all about the 50 monkey rule, the Crean family farm, the zoo's renovation plans, and so much more. Come inside with us as we explore the Santa Ana Zoo. I have Ethan Fisher here, and we are at Amazon's Edge, and behind us are some howler monkeys. So we heard all the noise they were just making. Explain what they're doing.
Sure. So every morning the howler monkeys come out into their habitat and they want to announce their territory. And the way they do that is they have this loud howling sound that they make. They actually have a special adaptation in their vocal system that allows them to make that deep howling sound that would permeate through the rainforest habitat if they were in the wild. So that's what we're hearing there. They're a pretty unique species. They have two color forms. So the males are that black color phase, and then the females are the tawny brown color in the juveniles. And as they mature, they will transition into the black color phase. So we have them out here on Amazon's Edge. We're in the process of doing a major exhibit renovation to this habitat in the next year or so. And it'll be a really unique habitat because we're putting in a trail system so the monkeys will be able to move around this space and actually come closer to the guests.
Okay, so closer to the guests. Now, the only thing that's separating us from the howler monkeys right now is the water, right?
That is true. So right now they live on a island with a moat in front of them because they're not fans of the water. They don't like swimming. They're even sort of wimps when it comes to the rain. They like to stay inside when it rains. But the trail system will be a meshed-in tube where the animals can safely move throughout a larger habitat zone.
Okay. All right, so now if I was out in the wild, I'd hear this. So places like where?
You might find them in Central or South America. There's a number of species of howler monkeys. This is the black howler monkey, which would be from northern Brazil, Uruguay, some of the South American countries. There's also red howler monkeys and mantled howler monkeys. So there's a number of different species, but they range throughout Central and South America. Okay. So this exhibit, Amazon's Edge, is going to undergo a dramatic transformation in the next 2 years. We have a plan to develop a new habitat for giant river otters, which are a critically endangered species of otter from South America. And they're also the largest species of freshwater otter. Everyone knows the fluffy sea otter that we have along the California coastline. They are a little bit different than that. They're sleeker looking, but they're taller, they're longer, and very, very loud animals. So we're going to transform this exhibit, since it has such a large water system in it, into a really unique habitat for the otters, even with the underwater viewing area where you can look at the otters swimming around through an acrylic panel. So they'll have that. They'll have an area where there's a waterfall and a stream and more landscaping. So that's the plan for the otters. And then in addition to that, we still want to have a home for the howler monkeys here in Amazon's Edge. So we've developed a novel a novel trail system and new habitat space around this this waterway for the howler monkeys. And that's unique because the monkeys will be able to move 360 degrees around this entire space. They'll be able to look down at the otters, look at the people. They won't be in the same habitat space because you can't put them together. But they'll have a large meshed in enclosure. And then where we're standing right now, we're planning to put a unique enrichment area for the animals. So that would be a specially designed area, possibly with a feeder tree or some other elements that the zookeepers that take care of the animals can put novel food items or do special training demonstrations, something that keeps the animals' minds actively engaged and the environment changing on a regular basis. So we like to say, as with the new trail system, the animals will have the ability to move around the zoo, and for the people, the zoo is now moving around them.
Oh yeah, now we're actually behind the gate, so normally you wouldn't be this close to the water, but there are some vantage points that you guys can go to and be a little bit closer. But we're a little closer this time, and man, the water's right here, and that's the only thing separating us and then the howler monkeys. So I feel very fortunate to be here. The water system is, you got to keep that pretty clean.
We do, and this exhibit did open originally in 1993, so it's been a few years that the system has been operating, and one of the challenges we have is with maintaining this water system. So that was a driving force in the redesign of this habitat for the otters, because we want to completely revamp the water filtration system and make it as pristine as possible for the animals.
Well, something that you definitely will have to look for in the next 2 years. Okay, well, we're going to move on to our next exhibit.
So right now we're standing at the Tierra de las Pampas exhibit. This is our anteater habitat, where we have a pair of giant anteaters, the largest anteater species in the world. Also, the one with the longest tongue. Their tongue is about 18 inches long, and they use that because they have no teeth to harvest ants and termites in their native habitat of South America. Here at the Santa Ana Zoo, we make it a little bit easier on the animals, and they don't have to forage for termites all day long. They would potentially eat up to 35,000 of them in a day. We make an anteater smoothie, which is a combination of a commercially formulated diet mixed with hard-boiled eggs, papaya, spinach, banana, and water. That all goes into a blender and is given to them as a smoothie. So they eat that instead of eating 35,000 ants and termites a day. But they are a very, very unique species we have at the Santa Ana Zoo. There's also tie-in to the local university, University of California, Irvine, whose mascot happens to be Peter the giant anteater. So we have them here. Sometimes we have babies. We've had a number of offspring since this exhibit opened in 2010. And when the babies ride around on the parents' back after they're born, they're sort of like a little backpack. Oh, here comes Peter.
Oh, there he is. Look at him.
Oh, he just was in the water too.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, they do like the water.
Oh, he's adorable.
And he looks wet.
Oh, hi. Look at him. He wants to come. He wants a smoothie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look at him. I don't think I've ever been this close. Wow, look at that hair. Is that pretty coarse?
They do have pretty coarse hair, and there's another anteater out there.
Way over there.
And they also have a very large fan-like tail, which they use to cover themselves. They'll lay down they'll sort of curl up in a depression in the ground, and then lay their tail down over the top of them. So when you can imagine when they're in a grassy savanna and there's grass that's 2 or 3 feet high, the anteater completely disappears and no one could find it.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. How old are the anteaters that are here?
They're about 15 years old.
Okay.
And they can live into their early 20s. That's typical for the natural history of this species.
Now, I know you said there were a couple of babies, but they're not here now. Where did they go?
So the babies are all the anteaters are part of a conservation program, and the babies have gone off to other zoos to start their own families. And right now we have an anteater that went to the Dallas Zoo, the San Antonio Zoo, and also the Fresno Zoo. And one of them has actually had its own baby at this point. So they are a vulnerable species in the wild. They're part of a conservation program in North America, and we work to learn more about the animals and conserve their habitats.
Well, Peter the anteater, I love it. And I like the fact that they're just roaming the earth.
They are. They're amazing animals, and they just sort of go around their habitat, and they smell things and explore and dig and climb, and that's what they do every day.
Pretty simple.
Pretty simple.
All right. Oh, here he comes again.
Oh, they're in the water.
Oh, they are in the water.
Yeah. Let's see if they'll go back.
50 monkeys at all times is the motto here at the Santa Ana Zoo. And we're on Monkey Row, and Ethan's going to tell us a little bit about the 50 monkeys.
So that is true. We are supposed to have 50 monkeys at all times, and that is because the original donor of Prentice Park, he specified that in the deed that we would have 50 monkeys at all times. He was a fan of monkeys, and he wanted to provide the community with a park, with a nice small zoo, and he did specify that. So we are the Santa Ana Zoo at Prentice Park, and we do have a lot of species of primates from throughout Central and South America, Africa, and Asia. We have large primates like gibbons, all the way down to really small primates like the pygmy marmoset, which is basically a monkey that can fit in the palm of your hand. Mm-hmm. Right now we have about 18 species represented at the zoo, and it's a great resource not only for visitors to the zoo, but also for the local universities and colleges, which send many students to the zoo as part of their anthropology programs. And going forward, we've just started a new 20-year master plan for the zoo, and this area, the older primate habitats, that is going to be a key area that we focus on going forward, and putting in some very dynamic new habitats for the primates that we have here at the zoo.
Now, we are standing in front of tamarins, right?
We are.
Tell me a little bit about how cute they are, and I know somebody was asking, are they pet legal?
So none of the monkeys at the zoo are pet legal. You're not allowed to have pet monkeys in California. The species that we're standing in front of, the golden-headed lion tamarin, is a critically endangered species from the rainforests in Brazil. They're part of a conservation program. All of the primates we have at the zoo are part of conservation programs where we work with other zoos to maintain the population and learn more about the animals that we have here, and then also more about them in the wild. So we have a large family of golden-headed lion tamarins. They're very small monkeys, so they only weigh about 700 grams, so maybe 1.5 pounds. And they live in a family group. A really unique thing about the golden-headed lion tamarin is when they have a birth, they tend to have twins. They will sometimes have a single birth or a triplets, but the majority of the time they will have twins. And they could have twins one to 2 times per year.
Okay.
So.
Excellent. Well, excellent. Well, thank you so much for spending all this time with us here at the Santa Ana Zoo. I think we've learned a lot, and hopefully our community will come on out and either volunteer or have some fun.
Great. We look forward to having everyone come and visit.
All right. Thank you again.
This is how we burger brew and cue. Pick a town. Arrive hungry, real hungry. Start with a massive burger. Charred, juicy, add bacon, a buttery bun, piled high. Serve it up, wash it down. Creamy, hoppy, fruity, malty. We're not done yet. Q-tie, deep fried, sauce soaked, pork ribs, meaty, tender. I'm full. Where to next?
All new Burgers Brew and Q, Tuesday at 9. Cooking Channel. Stay fired up.
Hi, I'm Brian Rott, President and CEO of Cartmart here in Laguna Woods. My family's been in the golf cart business since 1959, and we win our customers over with the simple belief of we treat you right. We are proud to be the authorized dealer for Club Car here in Orange County and your go-to source for the sales and service to other major brands. We're conveniently located on El Toro Road, just minutes from Laguna Woods. So come by and see for yourself, while when doing business with Cartmart, there's no reason to go anywhere else.
Welcome back. Well, I'm privileged to have from our own social services department now, Kathy Villafana. Did I pronounce that right? Yes, you did. All right. And you are kind of oversee the really great friendly visitor program. And it's really, we're gonna get into it, but it's really kind of a two-part thing. You have the people that get visited, and then the visitors. The visitors and the visitorees. I don't know how that sounds, but
so we have the volunteers.
Yeah,
we have the volunteers, and then what I call the participants.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how we try to. Yeah, it's easier for me.
So tell us just in general what the purpose of this. What's this program all about?
So it's part of the social services department.
Yeah.
I'm in there, and the program is we train active members in the community, in residents. To be welcoming companions to less active members in the community. And really we're trying to address isolation and loneliness for residents that don't have a strong support system.
And I would think that these are people that, in general, maybe they don't have relatives nearby, or for other reasons, they just kind of shut themselves down, or they need a little prompting maybe to get involved with the dozens and dozens of clubs and activities here.
Right. There's quite
they
a
want
bit.
Somebody to friend to be with them all.
So we do have people, so there are lots of different people that are participants. So we do have some people who are truly bedbound, and then we have people who are just isolated and need to get out. And so some of our volunteers can drive if they choose to, and kind of help those people get out of that kind of rut, who are kind of self-isolating. So, and kind of bring them to the clubs. In fact, we have a really great story of a 92-year-old woman who is recently widowed, but she is now going to the hula club.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So,
and that, that's what this is about.
Yeah. So,
fantastic.
and who knew that, she would be, at 92 starting to do something like that.
Yeah, and a lot of times that's all it takes. It's a little nudge and
Exactly. So the volunteer was thinking, hey, I think I want to try this out. They talked about it, and what a wonderful bond. And so, and that's the goal, is that a bond forms between the two people, and the isolation is minimized over time, and the participant is looking forward to those visits. And it's a win-win for both people. They're both doing things that they enjoy.
Yeah, that is great. Now, about somebody becoming a volunteer, what does it take? What do you look for in that person?
Sure. So I'm looking for a kind, compassionate person. You don't necessarily have to have volunteering experience in your background, but just the desire to do it. Let's see. Just wanting to develop a bond with somebody, and come into our office or just contact me, and I want to just really talk to you, and kind of know like your background, because what I'm going to do with that information, like what your interests are, what your background is. If you worked in aerospace perhaps, then I'm going to match you with somebody who participant who was in the aerospace field, and then I'm going to match you, because then there's going to be that instant kind of chemistry, if you will. And then I'll invite, once I kind of get that kind of history of you, then I will invite you to a training, and it's a 2-part training that you'll go to.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there. But then we'll do matching.
Yeah.
So once you go through that.
Now, what is the commitment do you
Sure.
look at? Because
Sure.
I think that would be a really important thing.
Really important. So my ideal scenario is that you're visiting a participant once a week for an hour, and then, or you could visit every other week for an hour, but doing like a call in between.
Yeah.
Just see how you're doing, like a 15-minute call. That's
okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, so not a lot of commitment.
Yeah.
But.
And then also we have monthly meetings, and the monthly meeting is to really bring all the volunteers together. It's a great opportunity to learn about new things, like learning about, we had Alzheimer's Orange County come out,
right.
And so you can learn about dementia, which may be helpful for the participant you're meeting with, but also it's a time for the volunteers to come together and kind of hear stories and, oh, this really worked well with my participant. It's really things, we're learning things, and maybe this didn't work so well, maybe we should try this.
Right,
and it's
right.
so volunteers don't feel like they're working in a silo. I feel for myself, being a volunteer myself, getting to connect with other volunteers is a great side thing that comes with it. Yeah.
Now, are there any specific types of volunteers you're looking for right now?
Sure, absolutely. We need male volunteers. Right, we do.
I would think that's a little bit harder to come by, just because.
Yeah, in general, that's typical.
Yeah.
So we match male volunteers with male participants. That's the norm, and vice versa, or likewise, female volunteers with female participants.
Right.
So the females get matched up sooner.
Yeah.
And so we have some men that are waiting to be matched. It takes longer. And so there are some veterans that are waiting. So
yeah,
and you don't have to be a
point.
veteran necessarily, but they would really appreciate somebody to be able to sit with them, and also people that speak a second language, that would be really helpful.
Okay.
Just urgently, female Spanish-speaking woman, that's a little redundant, I apologize, and then Korean-speaking women.
Okay.
So, but really, I'd love to be able to represent all languages, or as many as we can, just kind of have in our stable of volunteers. That would be great.
Very good. So somebody's interested, call social services, right?
Social services. The number, I don't know if it's
posted. 597-4267.
Yes.
And we've got it on the poster here.
Perfect.
That people can see. They're right downstairs, by the way, the first floor of the community center building. You can stop in and just find out information. Let's go the other route, the people who are looking for someone to visit.
Sure.
Do they contact you too? How does that work?
Absolutely. They contact us, and I will go out and visit them. I come to their home, I visit them, and I just like to hear their story, their background, their likes and interests, even if they're not doing them, but what they've done in their past, so that matching happens as well. So I find out who would be a good participant. And if there's something, if they're that isolated person who does want to get out, what would you like to do? Or,
that's a good point.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Always good to see you, Kathy.
Thank you.
All the great folks down there in social services. And maybe you're not in need of anything right now. Stop down there, and that way you see what they have to offer.
Definitely.
So when the day comes, you know where to go, and you kind of, you go somewhere, you keep that in your mind now. Hey, I know where they're at. I can see what they can help with, or just general information about things. Stop down there, say hi, they're good people.
Thank you.
All right, you take care. We'll be right back.
At our new Memorial Wave Imaging Center in Laguna Woods, formerly Orange County Diagnostics, you can expect the same precise imaging, multiple modalities for your imaging needs, and the same friendly staff with medical providers like Dr. Syed Sharakni. The Laguna Woods Transportation Service offers convenient access right to our door, and we continue to provide the care and compassion that you expect from our new Wave Laguna Woods location.
The all-new 3-row Subaru Ascent. Room for up to 8 passengers. Choice of second-row captain's chairs or bench seating. Standard EyeSight driver assist technology. Coming from Kelley Blue Book's most trusted brand for 4 years running. The Subaru Ascent. Love is now bigger than ever.
Irvine Subaru. Get your new Subaru here with 2 years complimentary maintenance included.
And our movie coming up this Friday is an adventure, drama, and thriller. A really good movie. Now, when I first saw this, I thought, is it a documentary or a biopic? But it's not. It is just a great movie, and it's got a lot of really suspense in it. It's about a man that is stranded in the Arctic after a plane crash, and he must decide whether to remain in the relative safety of his makeshift camp or to embark on a deadly trek through the unknown. And looks like a really good film. As I said yesterday, I think this was comes out of either somewhere like the North Atlantic countries, somewhere along there, because just by the names of the actors that are in this, I don't recognize, and I'm not going to try and pronounce. But it could even be a film from Greenland. They have a really big film industry there, so that could be where it's coming from. But anyway, it looks to be a really good movie. Basically, it's all about this one guy most of the movie, but I think you'll enjoy it, and the woman as well, Maria, I can pronounce her, Maria Thelma, so there you go. All right, looks like a good film. It's coming up Friday, 2 o'clock and 7 o'clock. Now, our movie coming up on the 29th is Shazam. I have not seen this, but this looks like a good movie. This is actually the DC universe, and it's a really, it looks like a really fun movie. And it's all about a superhero, but it starts out as a kid. And as it says here, we all have a superhero inside us. It just takes a bit of magic to bring it out. In Billy Batson's case, by shouting out the word Shazam, the streetwise 14-year-old foster kid can turn into the grown-up superhero Shazam. But it looks like a really fun movie. I've seen the trailers on it, and just the way it's done, there's a lot of comedy to this, and I've heard it's one of the best DC movies that have come out. So this will be on Monday, and it will be 2 o'clock and at 6 o'clock. I'm really looking forward to that one. Now, coming up this Saturday, the dog park is finally open, and the City of Laguna Woods is having their grand opening. You're all invited with your dogs from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Saturday, July 27th. This, of course, is over at Ridge Route, so it's in the same location that it had been. They're going to have a lot of fun over there, and they do say bring your licensed dog and enjoy playing and socializing with other dogs. So a lot of fun. Check that out if you're a dog owner. It's been a long time in coming. The new dog park, A Place for Paws, will be opening this Saturday, the 27th, 9 a.m. So go over and enjoy them there. Also coming up on this Saturday, also at 9 a.m., 9 a.m. to noon, so you can go to the dog park first and head over to this. The Garden Center is having their farmers market and enjoy some fresh produce that is grown by the garden clubs here. This is going to be at Garden Center 1. It's a free admission. And they do ask that you could bring some canned goods that will be donated to the Orange County Food Bank. They'll have some refreshments over there as well that you can purchase. So good time. And, you know, it's amazing what the folks here grow. And I wish I could do as well as they do. I always seem to have problems. But here, they're doing great stuff and a good time to see what's being done here and get to know everyone, and you know, really get to know the garden center folks as well. So, ever interested in gardening? It's a good place to do it. Now, coming up, well, really, this is ongoing. You know, the whale watching down at Dana Point. If you're interested, a great senior discount is going on right now. It's only $19, so it's almost half the cost. And you go out and, you know, maybe you won't always see a whale, but a lot of times, I think most of the time, you'll see dolphins out there, and it's just a great adventure. Go to danawharf.com for more information on that. And I know there's a couple different whale watching groups out there, but I think they list both of them there. You can find out more about that. Now, as far as the weather goes, well, we got some humidity out there again today. In fact, to me, stronger than what we had yesterday. I said earlier that there was a little bit of drizzle up where I live. That's still a possibility around all of Southern California today. It doesn't look like it's going to be a lot. Also, a possibility of a thunderstorm anywhere in Southern California today. Now, really for here, it's extremely slight, but as you go inland into Riverside, the local mountains and deserts, that's much of a higher possibility. In fact, if you looked out there yesterday, you could see the big thunderhead. So just keep that in mind. But humidity is with us at least probably till Thursday. Thursday is the day that could be sort of a transition day. So we'll see about that. And then as we get to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we'll still have those temperatures in the mid to upper 80s, but most of that humidity will be out of here. But this morning, when I was looking at the news, it was interesting. The average humidity in Southern California was about 75%, which is very high for us. Most areas were 60% and above, all the way up to 90%, and that was all throughout Southern California. Here we are, temperatures today around the area and beyond. You can see we're warm everywhere you go and humid. So upper 80s, where the beaches will be about 80 degrees, but as an average, everywhere else upper 80s to low 90s. Of course, out there in Palm Springs, you know, it's unusual to get humidity out there, but they're 107 with humidity, but they do have a chance of rain. Rain would be welcomed out there right now. All right, we will see you tomorrow. Due to come on are the guys from Toyota Irvine with AutoNation, also a security update and the Reform Temple. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.